Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Jason.
I'm Jordan, and we're surviving on adventure.
A couple weeks ago, we took our very first ever Universal Orlando vacation.
We had so much fun, and we learned so many things while we were there that we didn't know before we went. It was kind of a trial and error thing.
It was.
For us because I don't know if you've researched Universal or not, but if you have found out that the information that you can find online is very limited.
So we've decided to do a different type of video. There's so much good content out there. You can check out people like Journey with the Gingers. They have great Universal videos. Rick's Flicks and the Tim Tracker all have high quality ride videos. We took our family vacation, so we didn't film much inside the park, but we decided to give you a rundown on the package that we bought and a few things we learned along the way.
So we went to Universal and we stayed June 20th through June 26th of 2021.
And it was busy. If you go to book a vacation package with Universal, it'll list all of the hotels, and we stayed at Endless Summer Dockside, and it was really nice. We were happy with our room. The only problem we had at the resort was elevators.
Oh yeah, there were so many people, and I think there were two elevators like in the main corridor, and there may have been two more. I'm not really sure. I heard somebody mention them maybe, but we never got down there to see. But there would be so many people, especially in the afternoons when you come back from the park, waiting down there to get on those elevators, and it would take a long time sometimes to get back up to our room.
But that was the only thing that we found. The food there was really good. The lobby was amazing. The rooms are great. The pool was outstanding.
It was huge. Like that main pool was really big. It was never overcrowded, I didn't think.
I don't think so.
There were a lot of people down there, but we still had room to kind of hang out and do our own thing in the pool. We did do a 2-bedroom suite, speaking of our room.
Yeah, it was us two and our 2 kids. So that gave us 3 beds, and that way we had plenty of room for all of us. There was a seating area with a table, a small refrigerator, a microwave, a sink. So we had places to eat breakfast. So it worked out really well.
It made a more comfortable stay for the 4 of us. We all had our own little bit of space, so that I really enjoyed that. So I recommend checking that out if that's something that fits in your budget or something you feel like would be good for your family. With our 2-bedroom suite at Dockside Resort, since it is a Universal resort, we had early park admission, which was wonderful.
Yes, that is
essential.
Essential reason to stay at a Universal resort is to get that extra hour in the morning. We got so much accomplished every morning that we were there.
It really makes a difference, and with Dockside and Surfside, they're like in that value resort range, so you don't get the express passes with those like you do with Royal Pacific.
Yeah, the premium
resort.
You would get the express passes complimentary, but those are at a premium price. I'm sure they're worth it, but that was way out of our budget.
So with that in mind, that early park admission was wonderful. We made the most of it. We got, like Jason said, we got a ton of stuff done in that first hour in the park. There were a couple instances where we could ride a ride back to back because there was no line because we were the only ones in there.
We went in there thinking that it was only going to be the Harry Potter attractions that were open early, but we got the Islands of Adventure that first day, and Spider-Man was open at early admission, and we rode it back to back, no wait.
No, it was so much fun. Like we walked right in, got on, got out, walked right back on. Like he said, no wait. Complimentary shuttles from the Universal parks.
So we flew in, so we never paid a parking for resorts, and we didn't have to pay for parking at City Walk, which was a huge plus and a huge money saver. And we are Disney experienced. The Disney transportation system is not very good. Universal has it down. Those buses were flawless.
They were, and that was surprising to me because when we do Disney, we usually do Pop Century because we know they have their own buses and some other resorts share buses. So to us, we
Mhm.
choose them specifically for that reason because the buses are faster. They're still not as fast as Universal. I think the proximity to the parks for Universal makes a big difference because you're what, like 4 minutes?
I would say 5. They say it's 6 minutes.
Yeah.
I would say 4 to 5 minutes. And we never waited on a bus, except for a few mornings going to the resort. But in the afternoons when we left the park, as soon as you left City Walk, there was always a bus there ready.
And-
That's something we've never had at Disney.
And if you are Disney goers and you've had that experience, you know that can save your afternoon. Having that bus like right there ready for you
Mhm.
after you've walked all day long is amazing. Also booked with our package the Universal Quick Service Dining Plan. That's something that we couldn't find a lot of information on.
And we'll go ahead and say this. As of filming this, I think yesterday, Universal has done away with their dining plans for now. There's no tentative date of bringing them back. I completely understand why. The Universal dining plan is horrible. It is nothing like the Disney dining plan. I feel like we lost a lot of money. We still have tons of credits, snack credits, beverage credits. We have meal credits because there were just nowhere to use them.
No, and the lines, I don't think the lines for the lunches that we had in the park were terribly long.
No, the lines were not bad for lunches, but I personally, each day you get one meal and 2 credits you can use for a beverage or a snack. I still have 6 credits left on my card because one day we waited an hour just to get Powerade because it was so hot and there was nothing open.
Nothing. We were in a section that had, 3 beverage and snack stands, and none of them were open.
We walked past 3 stands that were closed before we found one that was open, and the line for that one was an hour wait. But we've already prepaid with the package, so we were kind of stuck waiting in that line unless we wanted to go spend our other money to buy a beverage somewhere else and just give up on the dining plan. So we waited in line, and it wasn't worth it.
It wasn't, because that same day, actually, we did end up spending $20-some on drinks because nothing else was open, and we were not going to wait in another line for an hour to get drinks. So that kind of didn't work out as we had hoped it would.
So if they ever do bring the Universal Dining Plan back and they haven't revamped it totally, I would completely avoid it, 100% avoid it.
I would too. It is $26 per adult per day and $18 per child per day. So for the 4 of us, it's us 2, and our son is considered an adult, and then our daughter is still a child. We spent $475 on a dining plan that we weren't able to maximize.
Yeah, and even if we were able to buy everything that we had, or used every credit that we had on our cards, we may have broke even, but we would not have come out to the good.
I understand the desire to do the meal plan because it is nice to have that stuff prepaid for and not have to worry about pulling out a debit card for everything, and then you can just use the card that they give you. I will say Universal gives you a lot of cards for a lot of different things. It is ridiculous how much stuff you have to keep up with when you do the meal plan and a ticket. And the third thing we're going to talk about, or the other thing we're going to talk about, the photo pass.
But before we get there, I would highly recommend lanyards.
Oh, yes.
Especially if you have Express Pass. I saw a lot of frustrated people because some of those rides, they scan their Express Passes multiple times throughout the line, and we saw some angry guests because they were tired of pulling them in and out of their waterproof cases. So not something we experienced, but something we saw. So we each had lanyards. Go ahead and spend a few dollars, get you a waterproof case with a lanyard. It makes life a lot easier.
And if you flip your things backwards, it makes it easy because they can just scan it. You don't have to pull everything out. So photo package. I thought it was awesome.
The photo package was amazing. We did the 5-day photo package, and it was amazing. For the 5 days, it was $107.
The reason I feel like that is such a great deal is, first off, for one day, it's $75. For 3 days, it's $96. With our $107, we got 2 printed photos.
Yeah, we had 2 8x10s printed that we brought home, and in total, we took 54 pictures, and a lot of those were ride pictures. So those are the ones you really want, and they're very expensive to purchase at the park separately. So we have those forever to keep. We can take our, I've downloaded them so we can take them to a Walgreens or a Walmart and have however many we want printed. It's very easy to post on our social medias. And for $107, we have every one of those.
We also have a ride video from Hagrid's, and it's super neat.
Yeah.
A couple rides do that. I think Hagrid's and Rip Ride Rocket. There was some confusion. Rip Ride Rocket was the first ride we used our pass at, and we weren't quite sure on what we needed to do, so we just got the picture. If you plan on buying at least 2 8x10s, I recommend doing the photo package. They're, I think, between $25 and $30 a piece.
Yeah, I mean, they're expensive.
Yeah.
When you get off the ride, there's going to be somebody standing there trying to sell you your ride photo, and they're very expensive. So if you plan on buying those, go ahead and get the photo package. I will say, if you're going for one day, I'm not sure it'd be worth the $75 or $76 for the one day, because it does take some time.
Yeah.
Every time we got off a ride, we had to find either a kiosk or an employee. I had a card. I had to scan that card. And it was very simple. The process was easy. But you get off of a ride like Velocicoaster, you may be 10 or 15 people back waiting to scan your card to get your photo downloaded. So it does take some time. That's not something I would want to do if we were in the park for one day. But since we had 5, we made the most out of it, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I love it. I love having the pictures of us and the kids on the rides.
And we'll post some of those photos here, and if you want to see some more, we'll definitely have them on Instagram. So another thing we added to our vacation package was round trip airport transportation. We didn't want to rent a car, so adding this into our package, it was prepaid. It was amazing. When we landed in the airport, the transportation hub gave us our tickets, gave us our meal cards. We got a really nice binder that had our name on it. So everything was set, ready to go when we arrived. And it's something that I would really recommend if you're flying in. So Jordan has the details on that.
So the shuttle service we used was Superstar Shuttles, and we did round trip from the airport.
And when you go online to Universal and you click vacation packages, it's going to give you all these options. It's the only transportation option they give you with their package. And you really should do it. I checked other options to see if I could find it cheaper because I like saving money. And there's really no cheaper option. And it was nice having it all booked up in a package.
It was, and bus drivers are super nice, and they help you with your luggage, and it's just, I don't know, it was enjoyable. It was a great way to start our vacation when we got out of the hectic, crazy airport. So, a few things we learned.
Yeah, since we were first timers, this may be something the experienced Universal guests already know, but these are things we learned along the way.
If you are getting on a big ride and they say you have to put your stuff in the locker, put your stuff in a locker.
This is something we did because, like I said, we've watched other videos. We like watching Rick Flicks. We like watching Tim Tracker. They'll tell you nothing gets through the metal detectors, but you would be amazed how many times we were in line to go through metal detectors for Velocicoaster or the Hulk, and there were people arguing because they didn't want to take their wallets or their cell phones out of their pockets, and these people are holding up the lines and then having to go backwards to go to the lockers. Go ahead and put your stuff in the locker.
And I mean, we saw some shoes flying off of Velocicoaster. Yeah. So
we had about a 60-minute wait for Velocicoaster, and during that 60 minutes, 2 different ride cars went by and people lost shoes. So probably shouldn't wear flip-flops on Velocicoaster.
Probably not. And you know if your shoes are going to come off, there's a good chance whatever's in your pocket or around your neck or on your head is going to come off too. For me, something that really surprised me was how fast the Wizarding World gets packed. Holy cow. So one day we went and we got in line for butterbeer because we wanted to do this
Yeah.
magical, like, one day of all Wizarding World.
Yeah, we set aside
Ooh.
one full day. We didn't do anything Wizarding World. We wanted to make sure when we walked in, we had a full day to experience it. And as soon as we got there with our early park admission, it was packed. So I said, let's go ahead and get a butterbeer because it was scalding hot.
It was so hot that day.
It was
Diagon Alley is the first place we went in the
Mhm.
Wizarding World, and there is no wind movement in there because
No.
it is like walls on both sides of you. So it may feel great in the rest of the park, but man, it gets hot in there. And then you've got the dragon blowing the fire and the whole 9 yards. We waited in that butterbeer line like an hour.
Yeah, for an hour.
At, what was it, the Hopping Pot? Is that where we went?
Mhm.
I think an hour.
And I think that this may not be common. I don't know. Universal has a lot of employee shortage. There was one person working that counter. She was hustling,
Oh,
doing
man.
the best she could do. But it was an hour before we got up there. It was good butterbeer, but be prepared because people flood there and it was very crowded.
I think now that you've said it, mentioned the butterbeer, I think another good tip is try the butterbeer. Jason didn't think he would like it, and he ended up loving it.
We are huge Harry Potter fans, and that's something we've tried to create at home. I didn't care for it when Jordan made it at home. I'm not a cream soda fan, not much of a root beer fan. So when we made it at home, most of those recipes have you using cream soda. It was a lot better having the real thing.
It's not as sweet. Like, it's a little bit less sweet at the parks than the recipes that I've created from online recipes.
I would love to try the hot butter beer. That'll be a next trip. We will have to go with cooler weather because there's no way. I mean, standing in line for the bus in the morning, you're just drenched in sweat
yeah.
already.
It's super hot. So a good tip, I feel like, is something I kind of goofed on the first day. I took the kids to get lunch at the resort, and they got drinks, soft drinks, and I should have gotten the refillable mug at that point, and I didn't, and I think I ended up paying like $8 or $9.
Yeah, it was almost $9
for two
after
drinks.
tax for 2 drink cups. And now this isn't the theme park mug for the Coke Freestyle, but the resort has their own mugs. So we got a resort mug for $18 after that, and we were able to use it most of the week for unlimited refills. I think you have to wait 2 or 3 minutes in between refills. But go ahead, if you drink soft drinks heavily, we do not, so that's one reason Jordan didn't buy it first off. But after buying those first 2 soft drinks, we realized we're going to spend a lot of money. But if you are a heavy soft drinker, go ahead and buy that mug as soon as you get to the resort and use it all week long.
It was nice kind of to have those by the pool in the afternoons when the kids were out in the water. They liked having that to sip on when they came
Mhm.
out.
So the last thing we really want to talk about is Shipt. It's a food service that will deliver to your hotel. It's something that we had seen on other reviewers and they had good experiences. We had a horrible experience with them. I'm not sure exactly what happened. We had a reservation made for somebody to bring us some Gatorade, some water, some sunscreen. Since we flew in, it was hard to fly with the sunscreen that's needed for somebody like me that burns it easily. So we had all that set up, and we just had a really bad experience. Our groceries never showed up, and then they told us that they were going to give us stuff, and they didn't. But I would just recommend maybe Ubering to the grocery store, getting your
Yeah.
own stuff. I can't recommend Shipt. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. This isn't our normal type of video, but we couldn't figure out a better way to make this video and give the advice that we learned without just sitting down and telling you like this. So if you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment, and feel free to subscribe and share this video.
And now I'm gonna need you to get out there and